Bomb atomically. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't describe why I be dropping these mockeries. Lyrically performed armed robbery, flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Battle gun, shogun, explosion when my men hits tremendous. Ultraviolet, shine blind forensics. Boom, classic Wu Tang. Hello, America. Hello, world. Hello, you. It is your new best friend, Cashmere, California, and this is the Pod is Good podcast, aka the notorious PIG. Pod is good, and all the time. If you know, you know. If you don't, keep listening. You will learn. Today, I have a very interesting conversation for us to talk about. There are only two things that are guaranteed in life, and they say that is death and taxes. And arguably, we don't prepare for either one of them that well. My guest today, one of my friends, is going to walk us through his new idea, his really great idea, like super intelligent, super thoughtful, well thought out, and kind of takes it to a fun place, for lack of a better term. It takes it to a place where it's an enjoyable process. Maybe that's a better term, enjoyable. So we're going to talk about it. Let's get it going. David, what's going on, my guy? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my
What's
guest,
up? What's up? How
David
you
Simmons.
doing? It's good to
I'm
be
good.
here. It's great to be here.
Good to see you, man. How you been?
Man, I've been good, man. I've been good. Taking it one day at a time and
Yeah,
just enjoying every single moment, every
mm,
single day, because every bit of life, man, we got to take it
man, talk
one
about it.
one bit at a time, man. One bite at a time, one day at a time, and
Yeah,
be absolutely present. That's one thing
yeah.
I learned through everything I've been going through, man. You take it one day at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it though. You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Present. Present. It is
Yeah.
one thing to just be there. It's one thing to, be in the room. It's another thing to be present in your conversations, in your interactions, whether it be with other people or not. Like just
Mhm.
your life, being present in your life is hard nowadays. We have so many things that distract us and have our minds going in 1,000 directions. It's hard to be in that one space at one time.
Oh man, look, let me tell you, there are a million things going on in life, and but when life slows down because of emergency or someone that's in your family that has taken ill, life becomes very simple, very quick. It gets simple real quick.
That's
It
it.
really does. It's like
That's it.
what's really important, family.
Yeah. Wow. That
Yeah.
reminds me of oh man, what was it? A book I was reading? Anyway, they gave a story about someone asking uh to be taught how to be a great salesman. That's what it was. And the guy who was supposed to be this extraordinary salesman took the guy out to the lake. And as they got to the lake, they started to walk out into the water. And he
Mhm.
said, okay, keep going. And the water got up to his waist. Said, all right, keep going. The water got up to his chest. Keep going. The water got up to his nose. And he said, keep going. And he went to the point where he was completely underwater. And he like held him down there for a while. And then he let him out. And the guy was gasping. And what was that? And he said, when you were underwater, what did you want more than anything else? And he said, to breathe. And he
Mhm.
said, when you get to the point where you want to sell as bad as you wanted air, you'll be a great salesman.
You'll be a great salesman. Yeah.
But it's funny, it's that idea of like things can get
Yeah.
real simple real fast.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to
Especially
your point,
tragedy.
yeah, it gets real simple real fast when you look at what's really important, which is
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your livelihood, and it's
yeah,
the livelihood and the life of the people that you love, and whether it's family or friends, no matter who it is, you want to make sure that they're taken care of, and you want to make sure that all things are set in place so that whatever it is that they want to have happen
yeah.
happens, and that is executed, so yeah, this is what this is about, man. This whole thing is about life, but it's really about that preparation is a way of saying that I love you. It really is.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, as we talk about life, let's go back because I met you 2015. I can't remember how long. It's
Oh
been
man,
a
don't
long
put no
time that we've
dates
known each
on
other.
it, man.
It's been a long. Let's just say some years. You know what I'm saying?
Some years,
Let's
some
say
years,
let's
some
say
years.
Nelly was popular when I met you. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Did you say Nelly?
Oh man, we met through a mutual friend, and
Yep.
then what's crazy is that we didn't talk for some years, and all of a sudden, one of my homegirls in Sherman Oaks was doing these meal prep parties.
Yeah.
And she's like telling me about this guy, and he like gets everybody together, and they all prepare the food, and they do 5 days, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And then one day she's like, yeah, David's really good. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. And then somehow it comes out that it's David Simmons. I'm like,
Right.
hold on, I know David.
We called it the men can burn parties. so,
The
so
man
all
can
the men,
burn.
yeah, men can burn. So all the men
Wow,
would cook for the women. So
wow, I love it. I love it.
yeah, men can burn. So all the men that get out, get out their dishes, the best of whatever, and
Nice.
basically bring it to the house. And I make my specialties and everything else, and we cook for the women that come.
So how that idea come about?
You know something? It's kind of interesting. Love Jones. You remember Love Jones?
I do. I do.
And just how they all kind of gathered at that one house that their friend was at, and they had this
Yeah.
great dialogue, right? And you're just sitting there, and they
Mhm.
just spitting just all kinds of ideas about religion and where we are as a people and everything else. So it kind of came from that, right? It came from that idea of keeping that alive,
Right.
that feeling of togetherness and that feeling of community. You're right, and then kind of flipping it on his head and say, look, the men are gonna cook. You guys
Yeah.
just show up. Usually there's a line outside the door. It's like free food, right? Y'all cooking. Y'all can't cook, right? The next thing you know, I'm like, oh, this is good.
Right. Right. Let me shut up. Let me shut up.
I gotta go ahead right. I gotta go ahead and shut up. This is
Yeah.
actually really
You
good.
should do
The
that.
funny thing is if you didn't come on time, by the time you get an hour later, that food was gone, man.
Yo, I love it. That is a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. How long did that run, and why did it stop?
Oh man, it run for a good almost a decade, man. I had
Oh,
it, and then I moved.
mm,
I moved. I was gonna buy a house, and I moved to an apartment. I didn't want to do it again until I actually bought another house. So that's what kind of stopped it, as well.
understood.
Yeah. So I was like,
Men
oh
can
man,
burn.
I don't want to cook in an apartment. I want to cook in my house.
Hey, hey,
So
we're
yeah.
gonna we got to bring that back. That's a great idea.
Oh yeah.
The people loved it. It was great enthusiasm and energy around it, and it's a beautiful message within. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's lessons in it. There's togetherness in it. There's
Hmm.
bonding. There's healing. There's culture. There's sharing.
Man, till this day, I have people come up to me like, Dave, it's been like 10 years.
What we
Um,
do?
what we doing? What are we doing? And it's like, what are you talking about? I
Yeah,
was like, man, I used to go there and that's why I have my conversations and I get to talk to people that I've never met before. But the people themselves, they come with this great energy because everyone's friendly. Everyone is really wanting to engage and engage in all kinds of conversations. And
yeah,
most how it is. Most of your friends are funny, so you have all kinds of
yeah,
jokes going east, west, north,
yeah,
south.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have people from different political views. I mean, just it's a mixture of everything. But what brings us all together is who we are. You know what I mean? And so that to me was the most important thing. And I love seeing my friends. It was also a great way to get all my friends in one place without having to go to a club or go to a bar or go to a restaurant. You get to do it all in your home, and
Yeah.
everyone's there, and and they stay until about 12 or 1 o'clock, and everyone's coming in at different times. So yeah,
Yeah, that is awesome, bro.
yeah,
That is awesome. I didn't know the depth of it. I knew some of it, but it was more like just on the surface. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I didn't realize it had that depth to it, where people are just kind of getting together and talking and hashing things out, and
Hmm.
that's man,
Deep conversations too, relationships, all kinds of stuff.
man,
So
that's needed,
yeah,
much needed.
yeah.
Bring it back, David.
Yeah, I may do it,
Bring
man.
it
I
back.
may I may do something that's more like I'll call it the life planning or end of life the life planning kind of thing where we eat, we sit down, and we get things done, and we have those important conversations. So something
Okay,
along
don't
those
call it
lines.
end of life though. Don't call it
No,
end
I'm
of.
not gonna call it. That's why I'll
Like,
call
we
it
can talk
life
about
planning.
that when we're there,
Yeah, yeah,
but don't brand it as the end of life. Like, oh, what y'all feeding us? I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid there. I'm not drinking
No,
that
no, it's
Kool-Aid.
yeah, it's one of those things where but no, I still like it could be one of the things we talk about, but to me, it's really important as we get older, right? We start seeing our parents age, our friends, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of the most important business because we spend our lives focusing on our career, but all the work that we do to build our nest egg and our career and all of that can be gone just like that because we didn't really plan for it, at least for our next generation, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
really being able to pass down all that hard work to the next generation, to your legacy.
yeah. Dude, this actually a podcast. Like
Yeah, this
that's
is,
actually a
man.
pod. That might be better than my podcast. I'm gonna be honest. That's actually a great podcast. You have cooking, you have the
Yeah.
culinary arts. You can do close-ups of all the cooking process, and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, like the slow motions that they do. In the
Right.
meantime, there's conversations and dialogues and sweeping shots. Man, that's
Actually,
hey,
that is a really cool, yeah, because nothing is like eating with people, right, to
right,
make you feel like you're at home. You're
right,
much more relaxed. You're able to like, oh look, I eat with my hands. All right, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I
there
eat
you
this
go.
chicken. I'm not gonna even try to use a fork. All right, so you're able to really have this natural, organic conversation
Yeah,
come out of it, and so
yeah,
that to me, I think that's great. Yeah, that's dope.
yeah. I
All right.
love it. I
All right.
love
Next
it.
thing,
So
next thing you know, you got to see me eating chicken on a podcast.
just all
It was
that.
like, oh, I wonder where that came from.
Hey, there's something beautiful in that, though. There really is.
Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a more cultured version of like Hot Ones. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
Hot Ones where they would eat, really spicy wings with different hot
Oh.
sauces. But then
Hmm.
during that, there was actually an interview and a connecting, process and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, and that has its own lane. But like this, that has a whole different thing to it. Like I like it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree with you. I think having something that invites people in and they
yeah,
feel like they're at home and they're able to be themselves and really walk through some ideas and conversations of the times that would bridge the gaps, especially between men and women, especially between black men and black women.
yeah.
In this day and age, to help us to communicate better, help us love better,
Right.
and really build back that love that we that's there, but it's not really being recognized enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I was actually watching a show the other day and they were saying it was trans women versus real women or natural women, however they positioned it.
yeah, yeah,
And it was interesting. Some thing. I mean, there's the obvious things,
yeah.
right? Yeah. But there are some things that I didn't know that when trans women are trying to get like certain rights,
Hmm.
their number one advocates are usually natural women. I
Really,
didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And then I also didn't know I guess on the flip side of the spectrum, there are trans women that are saying things like we can teach natural women how to be more of a woman. That's a whole nother argument.
That's a whole nother argument. Yeah, that's that. It's yeah, yeah. That's but.
However,
Hmm.
however, it was, I guess, trying to get to your point, it was interesting watching the trans woman and the natural woman finally talk
Hmm.
and be able to hear the other's perspective, and you could feel the softness happen. You know what I mean? When
Yeah,
those conversations where there's hard edges, but then once you
yeah.
start talking, it's like, oh, okay,
Look, I think at the end of the day, we're all connected in some way, in some form, right?
yeah,
And we, we all have the basic needs that we need to have met. Shelter, clothing, food, and love and community.
yeah,
And no matter how that actually looks, that's something that we all gravitate for or
yeah,
gravitate to. And outside of the ethics of where people are, that's like the number one thing that people are looking for, no matter what.
yeah,
So there's
yeah,
always this common denominator that you start with, so you can at least engage in the conversation. Unfortunately, these common denominators are not really happening from a political perspective in many ways, right? Where we can actually engage. And some things, you're just like, this is my line, and this is where I'm gonna stand. And sometimes you just You take your stand and that's it, and that's
Yeah.
understandable. But it doesn't mean that you can't not listen. You know what I
True.
mean? And engage. And that's what's I think that's what's really missing is the engagement and what's best for really the future and for our kids and what really makes sense.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So what are you doing right now, like professionally?
Right
What
now, I am doing several things, man. My main career is home caregiver at this point,
number
and
one?
the reason why I say that is because my mom is the number one priority over everything else that's happening
Mm.
in the moment. Because which is the reason why I revitalized this uh, the CAP plan, which is called Comfort Action Plan, which is about end of life planning. It's because of what I'm going through with my mother currently.
Okay.
However, it's so I'm really focusing on her and how I'm actually utilizing those tools right now in real life so that I can help other people.
Nice.
So that's part of what I'm doing. So it's very interesting how this situation kind of brought that back out of me and brought that back to life. I also do marketing as well. So especially when it comes down to doing pitch decks,
Mm.
those kind of things too. And so
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of those and analytics and still doing all the marketing analytics part, side of it as well as a consultant. And I'm also helping my mom with her art because she has over 100 paintings that she's
Wow.
done. And they're amazing. And I'm not just saying it because I'm her son. I say it anyway, but I'm just saying it because I'm her son. She
Are
is
you
an
gonna let us see
amazing
some
artist.
before you're done?
What's that?
Or I said, are you gonna let us see some before you're done?
Absolutely,
Or are
absolutely.
they
I would
around?
definitely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'll bring up her website that I've been working on, and I'm gonna launch probably sometime next week. I'm just making some
Awesome.
changes to it.
Okay,
But the
Michael.
interesting part of that is that when I'm learning through this experience of going through this with my mom, because yes, I'm a home caregiver. I've been doing it for about a year and a half. It totally disrupted every my plans, my fiance's plan, what we were going to do.
Yeah.
However, as I've been going through this process and talking about being present, it's amazing how if number one, it forces you to be very present,
Yeah.
but what that relationship is actually like, that it
Mm.
goes deeper than you ever
Mm.
could expect it. You start a different level of love with your parent when you're a caregiver, and it transcends from being just a parent child. It transcends to being a human and another human being, and you
Mm.
have that one-on-one really relationship. And it's but that the parent child is still there, but it's almost like reversed to a certain degree, right? It's been very interesting going down this journey. It hasn't
Wow.
been easy, man. It's been tough, man. I'm dying.
I
She
can
looked at
imagine.
me with some evil eyes like, I cut you. And and
I'm
because
still your mama.
unfortunately, huh?
She
You
hit you
still
with that one
right.
yet? I'm still your mama. You got to get that one.
Exactly. You got the eyes like, boy, don't you know? So you have these interactions that are honest and real, and right after that you come back and he's like, I did this because I want to make sure you're okay. I love you, and I know you're upset. I know this is hard. I know you have to be able to understand that they need your support more than anything at this moment in time, because you are the go-to person. At least
Yeah.
for me, I am the go-to person for her. I am her advocate for everything. And being
Mm.
a home caregiver is the hardest job a person would probably ever have to do. The hardest
Wow.
job. It's most satisfying.
Yeah.
Hard, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's nothing light about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so, but and the
So,
great thing, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say the great thing about it is that this is where community comes into play. This is where your cousins and her friends and
Mm.
all that
A
you
village.
rally behind those relationships that that person has established, because they're going to have different relationships and different conversations with their friends than they have with you. Their
True.
friends know her. My friends know not my friends. Her friends know her better than I do, right? Because
Mm.
they've known her for years before I was born. They know the ins and outs and everything else. I know her for a particular type of relationship. They know my mom from the time that she had the relationship with them 20, 30 years. and they
Right.
probably talked about everything,
Right.
right? And that's a different type of support system that your parents going to need if they're in this situation. It's going to be more than just, it'd be great to have, you know, all of the children there. Most children may live out of state and everything else, maybe the only one. But what you can
Right.
do to help offset that is by getting in contact with our friends who would like to really participate in that, in that that caring process, that loving process, that pouring
Mm.
into this person's life process, and so that
Yeah.
becomes something that's vitally important,
That's
and yeah, but no, man, it's some deep stuff, man. It's some deep stuff. A lot of forgiveness, a lot of you're unwinding the coils of your life with your parent, and you're trying to figure out, okay, are some things that need to be unearthed, and you're
mm.
solving some problems, and and you're there, and it brings up all of it. All your stuff is going to come up, man, all of it. But in that process, you're learning how to love even deeper and more, and saying to them that it's going to be okay. I'm going to love you through this no matter what.
Yeah.
And loving them is a choice, no matter
Yeah.
how they treated you, no matter what happened in the past. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's loving them as a choice. So
That's a good point. That's funny you
yeah,
say you ended with that because my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, is currently living with my aunt because my aunt gives in home care already.
okay,
That was her. That's been her career for decades now. And so when my grandmother got to the point where they felt like she needs that level of care, they moved her in with my aunt in St. Louis. And I've the information that I've gotten from my mom, who's obviously very close to the situation, has been very much that, like the choice that my aunt has to make to let certain things go, let
yeah,
certain things that might have bothered her go, let certain, certain turmoils that maybe were very fresh, even though they might have happened 30, 40 years ago, that were still very fresh, for her to say, okay, I gotta let that go. I gotta
yeah,
care for you in this way now. So to say it's a choice, I literally just heard someone having to make that kind of choice
yeah.
and realizing that this is what this person needs from me. And the only way I can give this to them is for me to do this.
And sometimes I gotta be very transparent. Sometimes love, I mean, there are many times I was on my knees, like, Lord,
Yeah.
please help me, please love through me,
Yeah.
because there are times that it is hard, it is difficult, because sometimes they're demanding, or at least for me in my experience, being demanding in a way where it's like, look, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
However, it's amazing how God sends you people to help you with that, and
Right.
to help you manage, at the right time. That's the amazing part of it. So I am very, very grateful of everyone who's stepped up to assist me with this, because there's no way I can do it by myself.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
Takes a village.
I think it. Well, I could do it by myself. Let me just put it this way: I could do it by myself, but I wouldn't be in the healthiest position. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it would take a toll on you. It really would, because it's 20 for me. It's 24/7. Like, some
Right.
people, it may not be 24/7, but for me, it's 24/7. And then you have support that comes in that gives you some breaks and everything else. So yeah, so because I'd be transparent here, so it's about really sharing with people. But for me, my mom is going through, she has cancer in both sides of her lungs, and she also has the cancer that spread to her brain. So there are
Mm.
certain things that when you're speaking, and she also had a stroke. So it was multiple things happening. It was one domino falling at a time. Now, all this didn't happen at one time. The stroke
Yeah.
happened, and then the cancer happened, and then it spread and everything else. And so you're thinking you have more time. That's the thing. You're thinking you have more time. It's like, okay, you got to get another 5-7 years with your mom, with this,
Yeah.
dealing with this. And it's like, nope. You end up finding out that you have 5 months. So right now, that's where I'm at. And it's one of those things it's a blow, but that's why I'm stressing the urgency for people, and I'm taking the time out away from my mom, who's in the back room,
Mm.
to be with to be with you, to be with your with your fans, and really you tell them to use this tool that I've created to help plan out your loved one's life, your life, so that in any emergency, you're always they're prepared, you're prepared, because there's nothing worse than experiencing someone who is not prepared and you have to get all their paperwork in order on top of grief. Okay, so it's hard already, but you add grief to that as well. It's almost insurmountable, right?
Yeah.
So, and I experienced that with my dad. The reason why I even started this particular project was because my dad passed away,
Mm,
and he didn't have all of his paperwork in order. I thought he had a living trust. He didn't have a living trust. And what was left for my brother and I, and my dad is the most giving person in the world. I mean,
mm.
literally, he is a giver. You look up giver, he'd be like, here. Yeah. In the dictionary, you see Clyde Simmons, Uh, and what we experienced was a person who is the most giving person in the world who I know he wanted to leave us something. Period. I know it
Yeah.
because that's who he is. We didn't get anything because we couldn't find his living trust.
Yeah.
And then, and that was the situation that we were left in. And I said to myself, I will never, ever, ever want anyone to experience that. And so it kind of set me on this journey to develop something that will allow people to input their information into a document like a PDF, and to have everything all in one place if anything ever happens to them. And so, after starting that project and going down the roads of getting that product out there, I stopped it, and then when my mom got sick, I picked it back up, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this really needs to be out here. And sometimes it stops because of money, because you don't have investors or whatever it may be. And it's like, look, I want to keep this going. And so when my mom, got ill, that's when I said, something, this needs to I need to pick this back up. And then different things kind of came out of it that I didn't see before, that I saw that were important. So I was
Mm,
like, there are different elements now that I've added based upon what I'm going through with my
yeah.
mom. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, look, we need to know where your bills are. People pay
Right.
bills
Right.
all kinds of ways. They pay it through the phone, the bank, through mail, and some people have it in all 4 or 5 ways. Like, no, I pay this
That's
bill
true.
by the phone. I pay this bills on automatic. This one, I
Yeah.
go into the bank and I write a check.
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
really, really helping people to navigate all the ins and outs of when their loved ones is in a hospital, making sure you have a power of attorney, financial power of attorney, doable healthcare power of attorney, a DNR, which means do not resuscitate, making sure that they're able to that their loved ones are able to fulfill their wishes is vitally important,
Mm,
because there's nothing worse. My cousin had an incident where, someone in on her husband's side, um, they were in a hospital and they had a DNR and they had which means do not resuscitate, and they had an incident where, um, and they had a power of attorney. They had all the time, because just because you have it is not enough. You have to share it with the people who are in control of it, as
yeah.
well, who are your executors, I would say, and so for me, what I heard was this person, a loved one, they've been resuscitated. They had their brain. I mean, all kinds of things happened that prolonged this person's life. However, they were in so much pain, and they
Mm,
later passed away. But their wishes were not fulfilled, although they had it written out. It really is vitally important not just to have it written out, but also give it to the people who are going to be able to execute on your behalf. So, and there are many, 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 many stories like this,
of course.
and so making sure that people are prepared is vitally important.
All right, so we're going to get into it. I want to ask you one question first,
Sure.
just to um, kind of set people in motion. At what point do you feel like people should begin a plan like this?
18.
Mm,
Because when you're 18 years old, your parents no longer, there are certain rights that they no longer have, and you do. As an adult, you're an adult, right? So if something ever happened to a child, and it's like, okay, well, who has power of attorney over this child? This was all this adult because they're no longer a child anymore. So if their kid is off to college somewhere, well, you want to make sure you're able to have all the documents that are necessary to advocate for your child that's in college. You know,
Hmm.
because they're an adult now. They're no longer your child. They're an adult. Well, they'll always be your child. However, they are an adult.
Right,
And
but
so
legally.
with that comes, yeah. And so you want to make sure that you have everything that's needed. So you start them off at 18. It's like you make sure that you get it done as quickly as possible. And then if you're a parent, or even if you're an individual, you know, because as a parent, you like if you're under 18, then your parent has legal rights over everything that happens to you, right? So it's like,
Right.
okay, here I'm responsible for everything that happens. After that, you're solely responsible for what happens to your life. So imagine you're
Wow.
19 and you have a booming influencer business, and you're rocking the house. You're like, yeah, I got this money, and next thing you know, you get hit by a car and you're in the hospital for like 6 months in a coma, and you don't have a power of attorney. You don't have your mortgage or your rent on auto pay. You know what I
Jeez.
mean? There's certain things that you didn't
Mark.
set up yet,
Yeah.
and or the way that you work your money is, well, the way my savings and my checking account work is, you know, or the way, because you may pay yourself differently if you have a business, right? So you have your
Yeah.
personal and then you have your business, and the way your cash flow works, it may work a different way depending on what's happening in your business, right? So all of that is in jeopardy and at stake because that person didn't have a power of attorney, a financial power of attorney that says these are all the things that I'm going to need to have paid. Here are all the different bills that I have, and they can easily access that information using the cap plan. And they can that loved one can come out of there like, okay, I get to focus on just being healthy and not focus on I have to catch up on all this stuff to make sure I actually have a place to stay, after getting out of the hospital.
And so all of that is it's funny because it's like we can hear it and it's like it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's death, right? Let's get to the nitty gritty of it. We are talking
Oh
about
man. Yeah.
deadness, and nobody
Goodness.
wants to talk about deadness. I mean, it's like I said, it's something we
No.
all
No.
know.
No.
You
That's
know,
not. That's not.
we just want to talk about it. So how, especially just jumping into 19 with a booming influencer business, the last thing I'm thinking about is dying, even though you're right. So
Yeah.
how do you get people to jump that hurdle? How do we take away
Yeah.
some of the nastiness of dealing with this
Well,
space and all the responsibility?
right. So I will look at it from two perspectives. So one thing is change the narrative. You are the CEO of your life. So to me, if you look at it from that lens, not from death, but from a perspective of, wait, I'm the CEO of my life. So I am the person who owns and operates everything that happens to me. How do
Yeah.
I ensure no matter what happens in my life, I'll still be able to make those decisions that's best for me and best for the people that I love. So if you look at it from that lens rather than it's the end, I don't care, what happens to me, I'm not going to be here anyway. Your life is so great that
Hmm.
it impacts everyone around you. Everyone. So when you think that I don't really have much, well, you do if you've been living, and someone's going to have to take care of your estate no matter what that looks like. Whether you have a car that's left, whether you have a bank account, whether you have whatever it is, someone's going to have to come in and handle all of that stuff that has to
Yeah.
be handled. Who do we call in an emergency? Do your mom, your dad have your best friend's number? Do all these things,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so it's not a comfortable conversation, but my goal was to make it a comfortable conversation by taking the number one, taking the fear out of it, and really changing the way that we approach it, right? Which is, well, one of the things I wanted to make sure that we do is change the way it looked, because nothing's worse than looking at a bunch of fields that you have to type in, and it's like, man, I don't want to do
Hmm.
this is no. And what's great is if you're looking at a beautiful picture of a place you want to go to, or a place you want to be or a person you want to be. And it's
Yeah,
more of, let me see, I see myself here as I write out what my plans are for my life to make sure everything's
I like
okay.
it. I like it.
Right.
Imagery.
And so that's where
Use the
comfort
imagery.
action plan came from, was that idea. And actually speaking to two people that are my best friend, my fiance, and I was like, hey, have you filled it out yet? It was from a previous, my previous iteration of it, right? And it's like, I know I haven't done it. And I'm like, well, why not? And I got down into the reasons why. And I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. This is not a comfortable thing to do. Well, how do
Yeah,
we change that? How do we at least make it feel like, oh my God, this feels good? This, at least I'm okay with looking at it, rather
right.
than this is something I have to do.
Yeah,
And,
no,
and
I
I think
like
it really
that.
is changing that narrative. Yeah.
I love the idea of this the CEO. I don't know if you use that verbiage on the site or not, but if you didn't, you need
Yeah.
to add that in because that is a beautiful way to kind of change the view of it. So
Yeah.
go ahead and bring it up. Let's get into it, man. Let's
Okay.
show
All right.
everybody what the
Ooh.
comfort action plan looks like. This is it's a capplan.com, correct?
It's mycapplan.com. It's
Mycapplan.com.
mycapplan.com. So people can go there later and check it out. But what I'm going to bring up right now is going to be the cap plan itself. So let me know if it's visible.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, fantastic. So there are four different types of comfort action plans out there, depending on what you like and what you love. I love the beach, and so for me, it was really about the water and how I feel when I'm working. Because I normally go away to sometimes to get work done. I go to Terranea and Palos Verdes, and out there, it's like it's a great resort. You get to park there. You get to park for free.
Yeah,
There's a trail, and I literally go there to get work done, and it's amazing. And
yeah,
so I
it's a
kind
nice.
of took that concept and said, okay, look, if I like going to different places to get work done, what about infusing that into the actual document? And so that's
Yeah,
where, this is what you kind of see. So the first part, of course, putting your vital information into this document. Again, this is a PDF. The reason why it's a PDF is because it's easily acceptable. I mean, accessible to most everyone, right? So that means that millennials, generations X, Y, Z can use it, and baby boomers can use it because it's easy to access and easy to do. And so, very simple, just put in your information. You have your medical information that's there, your medical condition, blood type, all the medical information that's important. You have your medications, that's the surgeries you've had, life insurance policy. You also have location of vital documents, which to me is, that's the first thing you're going to really go to see, okay, A, do you even have a healthcare power of attorney? Do you even
mm,
have a financial power of attorney? Or even do you even have life insurance? So that lets us know right away whether or not you have it, so we can just stop looking for it,
got it.
right?
Got
So you know that right away. And then here is like sustainable living bills. Like, okay, how do you pay this stuff? And so you can check off like how things are paid, and what do you use for your email, to access your bills. Like, some people use a certain email address specifically for bills, right? And so it's like, okay, great. No, let's have access to that so we can help you. And then here we have important policies and important documents. So you have car insurance, disability insurance, home rent, all those things that you're going to need in case of emergency. And then the different accounts that you have, like your different bank accounts, or even investments, that you want to make sure your family are privy to. Because there are a lot of people who leave. There's about $7 billion in unclaimed life insurance out there, and then we're not even talking about other financial vehicles that are out there that have been left to loved ones, but they don't even know that it exists,
it.
which is amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Passwords, right? So the most
Oh, that's
important
a good one.
passwords are usually your mobile, your computer, your personal email, right? That's where most of your bills go to, how you pay your bills, how you verify that this is who you are, all these things. So to me, this would be where you can put your bill information here, your accounts and the website and how username. Just put your bills and information here. Your power of attorney, your financial power of attorney will give you access to all the other things that are necessary for your loved ones to help you. So that's vitally important too.
Most people will struggle on that page because they don't know half the passwords they created.
Oh, but they do
Password
know.
in the pin? Oh my
But
goodness.
which
So
is interesting, which is why you want to have their phone, their email, and their computer.
yeah,
Because it's always going to be like, okay, well, we don't have your password, or you forgot it. What's your email?
right,
Okay, send a verification. Okay, two point verification. Link it
right,
to your
right.
text your phone.
Yeah,
So by
yeah,
having all three, it allows you to actually help that person.
right.
Help them help themselves too.
Yeah, yeah.
And then here are the relationships, right? So this is important because you have an emergency. You have these people what I call hubs. There's one person in the family that knows everyone else's number, know
Mm,
where they are, everything. You
yeah,
contact those one or two people. You make that sure that that's one of the people that you put on your contact list. So I have them up here so that you put that person's information there, and these are the go-to people who know everyone else. Because in an emergency, or even in unfortunately, if someone passes away, you don't have, man, I'm telling you, you don't want to dial 25, 50 people's numbers. You know what I mean? It's like you don't.
right.
You just don't have the energy. You
Yeah,
just don't have it.
yeah.
So
Well,
you
because
have
like
the
you said,
people
depending on
who
when
are the
you
hubs. What's that?
right, but like you said, depending on when you are dealing with this, you
Yeah.
might be dealing with a whole lot of other stuff on top of it.
Oh yeah,
So
you
it's
are.
like,
Oh
yeah,
man, you dealing with funeral arrangements. You're dealing with, man, you're dealing with just keeping her. I mean, you start executing the estate, kind of right away.
yeah,
there are a lot of moving parts. It's a lot that's happening all at one time, and you're dealing with grief. You're dealing with that too,
yeah.
right, on top of everything else. So it's a lot to do, which is why I created not just a place where you put your information in, but you also have what is called the life plan, and I'll walk through that real quick. And this is your defined wishes. What do you want? Many people got into fights because of what they thought grandma wanted, and she don't like that dress. Why would you put that on? All kinds of craziness, right? And then you have the net worth calculator. There's been
Why
many
would you put
fights.
that on? You know she don't like that.
She don't like that. She like purple. Why you put pink on her? All kinds of crazy stuff. And then you have the net worth calculator where you can calculate, your net worth, because most people don't think they have a net worth. But once you put it on down, you get to see, that you have that. And again, this is all in the PDF format. Like you have all this in one place. You're not paying a monthly fee on a website somewhere and anything like that, right? So this is kind of like what you're going through. And so, like I said before, this is the I would say the sister or the brother to the CAP plan is called the life plan. And this is when someone passes away, what do you do? And it literally walks you through every single step
Oh
of
wow,
what you need to do.
that's
Like
good.
call for support, locate life insurance, call funeral home, locate grave plot. Most people don't know about military discharge and the ability to be able to be buried in a veterans cemetery if they served in the military. What paperwork do they need? Well, they need a DD 214. Don't forget to call the employer because there are certain benefits if they were still working. They may have vacation days left, bonuses, leftover pay. They may have a life insurance policy actually through their job and not outside of their job.
Hmm.
Locate the paperwork, right? So there's all kinds of paperwork you have to locate, and so inform others. So this literally walks you through everything that needs to be done, right? Every single thing. And up here, it lets you know where this is located in the comfort action plan. So you see the icon, it's like, oh, this is under contacts. I can get the attorney, the cemetery, all this information from there if it's in, if the person filled it out, right? And then who do you call immediately? So it just walks you through every single step.
Wow.
The
It even has a
planning,
day one, day two. Wow.
day one, day two, day three of the
No, that
services.
right there. Hold on, real quick,
Yeah.
David. Before
Yeah.
you gloss over that, I think that is huge. Like, even though
Yeah.
that's a small piece of this
Yeah.
whole thing, the fact that someone in going through all of this chaos, going through all of this immersion, this emotional upheaval of things, and dealing with death,
Yeah.
so there's something says here's a 7-day plan, and
Yeah.
so you don't got to think about everything else. Just do these things on day one. Just
Exactly.
do these things on date. That is huge.
Yeah.
That piece right there is a huge part. I believe that you should use as marketing for something like this, because that will provide a sense of calm, a sense of
Hmm.
focus and organization that under those
Oh, those
circumstances most of us
circumstances.
don't
Yeah.
have.
Because most people are in disarray. They don't know what to do first. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
huge.
They'll sit there and be like, I don't know. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. And what's great about this too, not only do you have those 7 day plans, but you can also assign responsibility for those tasks, right?
Mm.
So now it's not just, okay, like here you go. It's not just
Oh
these are
yeah,
things
let
you
me
need to do. You can
clarify.
assign this to someone to do.
Write a
So it's
bitch.
like, okay, here, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. So it's not all on the shoulders of one person. And then you have the memorial service and arrangements. You have the obituary,
A quick
yeah.
question.
Yeah,
I know that it's a PDF, so it can be sent out. Can it be shared between various editors?
you can. You can. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you can share it out. I think the goal here is to get as many people using it as possible.
Yeah.
And you get a lot out of it. You get a lot of the great thing about this to me is that it's all in one place. I've gone to other websites where it's website based, where you're inputting information, and I can't imagine having to click through all this stuff just to get to something. You know what I mean? It would be too much mental work for me to do.
Hmm.
That's why to me having it as a PDF allows you to have everything in one space, and it's not rocket science. So and for some people who don't know how to write a eulogy, there's a sample eulogy in here. And then the thing is, after everything is done, you're thinking like, okay, funeral's done, we're good, okay, I can go on with my life. And it's like, nope, there's a lot more work to do.
Hmm.
You got to notify the bank. You got to notify the Social Security office. You got to notify the pension, any financial institutions. I mean, there's a lot more work that you have to do, and which is why you need multiple copies of the death certificate. Which is vital, depending on how many institutions and there are bills you have to cancel. So as you're going through this, a letter for canceling bills, you have personal, and then after all that, that person who's left is like, okay, what do you need help with? Like, what is it that you need? And if it's a mother or a father, or if it's a spouse that passed away, it's like, look, I need help with just cooking or watching the kids or watch the pets or just be there, just be here for me, period. Or help me go through the belongings or donating or cleaning the house, organizing. And there are some things that that loved one may have done that time. Like that person would do the lawn. Well, who's going to do the lawn now? Right?
Yeah.
Is it something that you're going to delegate someone to do? Or you
Mhm.
have a service, meaning that your son's going to come over and do it, or that part, whatever? Or are you going to do it yourself? Because it really does kind of get you really centered on what's important.
Yeah.
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 Now
So I
I
know this
will
is
I
heavy.
will
I know this is
say
a lot.
no, no. I will say one thing that I'm missing a little bit, and
Mm,
probably more because you talked about it in the beginning, and this
yeah.
is what we do. Try to help each other make things a little better. Is
Right.
I'm not getting the imagery that I got in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. So interesting because in the beginning, you had this imagery, right?
Right.
And the other side of that is for me, this is more to get them motivated to do it. Like, okay, put it in there so that when people go to your life plan, they can pull that information in if you decide not to do the life plan. This to me is the most important thing, one of the most important things you can do, because you're gonna need to have this information accessible. I think later on, to your point, I would definitely make it look a little bit better and go along with the themes. But I think the major thing I was really focusing on is like how do I make this so attractive to look at that I will want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. Gotcha. This
and
is
then
this is
yeah,
great information. Like it definitely transforms the way that you approach it. When you hear life planning, when you hear estate planning, when you hear,
mhm,
what are they going to do when you're gone? It definitely has a certain cloud over that conversation or over
yeah,
those thoughts. And so I can understand a lot of us, including myself, trying to kind of steer away from it. Like, yeah, I get it. And you always feel like, I'll get to it later on. But the fact that you even said you should be starting this at like 18 years old or
yeah,
19 years old, and then saying that I'm the CEO, it kind of transforms things. It's like, okay, what if my life is like Apple?
yeah,
And Apple, we have to file, Chapter 11. It's like,
hmm,
well, what happens to all the stores, all the employees, all the money, all the stocks, all the actual computers, the accessories. What happens to, like, there's so many things. Like, I wouldn't just leave that to anybody. Like, no, I'd want to
Right.
make sure that I was able to dictate exactly how I wanted these things to be taken care of if this global phenomenon of a company ever left. And looking at yourself like I am that global
A
phenomenon because
phenomenon. Right.
I
Right.
yeah, because I impact, like you
Exactly.
said, so many people's lives. I need to take care of myself the same way as if I were the head of Apple. I think this is huge, man. This is really, really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, and there's so one of the things I thought about too was after all this is said and done, you have all the paperwork, all the things that are necessary. What really people want to also hear from their loved ones, not just being prepared for this and helping them through this process, and that is their words.
Yeah.
The words that really resonate with them. Like one of the things that I did too is called the life journal, right? So my life journal, where you can actually input your information about your life, those deep questions about your life, like what are your fondest memories, or the fondest memories I would like to have, like what would you like to create now. So it's not just about when you're not here, it's about what do you want to create at this moment, and in this moment. So it's not just about who I am, but who I am becoming, which is
Mm.
very, very, very important. So people can know the inner workings of how you think. What's your MO? What's your modus operandi? Like, how do you think? You know what I mean? And so, really letting people in your loved ones into the soul of who you are. So
And
like one
scroll
of the
back
things,
to
like
the top of that.
what's that?
Scroll back to the top of the journal. Just
All
want
the way
to.
to the beginning of the page.
No, oh, sorry. I thought that you went specifically to the journal now, so I
Oh,
wanted
I
to.
am. I'm at the journal now. Do you not see it?
Okay. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I did. That's what I didn't see the cover. Okay.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
life journal.
That's the cover. Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
cover. And so, what the interesting thing, when my dad passed away, the first thing I thought about was it being a journal. So it actually, the idea started off as just a book you put information in, and
Hmm.
along with that journal, you have all this other information that's vitally important. And then it became like, this is really long. I'm not sure if you can fill out all this stuff. So I made it so that it's manageable. And if they want to do the journal, they have the journal as well. So so what you're getting is not just here's everything that you need to know about where things are, but also this is what you need to know about me.
Yeah.
And it's nothing more better, or nothing's better than hearing about what that person's philosophy is. Like, what's my philosophy on living my life on a daily basis? So what quote do I use to get me through the hardest times? Or how do I show vulnerability and strength, which is very rarely talked about, especially from a male perspective, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
What's my idea on love, and how do I express it in my own way? Are my philosophy on helping those in need and protecting those who are unable to protect themselves. So, or most importantly for men and women, what's my philosophy on relating to the opposite sex as a friend and as a romantic partner, and when it hurts.
Hmm. And
So
so you're trying to dig a little deeper. You're going
yeah,
further than ancestry.com. Like,
yeah, yeah.
ancestry will tell you, where your people from, but the cap plan will tell you who your people were. You
Who
know what
your
I mean?
people
And
were
that's
exactly.
different. That's
Yeah,
different.
no, and you're absolutely right, and that to me is what your loved ones want to hear. Is not, they want to hear, like I go here too, like after my love for you, like what is my love for the people that I'm leaving behind. You want to hear how your parent and your loved one loved you. You want to hear, for example, what's their hope for you, which is different than my love for you. I
Yeah.
love you. This is how I love you, but this is what I hope for you,
Yeah.
right? And that would keep you going, and so you have that. And then after my hope for you, how do I see you? Because all those things are different. Like my hope for you, my love for you, but how do I see you is also important, because most even adults want to know how their parents saw them. Like, I see you as being strong, intelligent, whatever it may be, that's who you are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that to me, having this is vitally important. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is really good. I dig
Yeah,
it. I told
yeah,
you when you sent it over that I wasn't gonna look into it too deep because
yeah,
I wanted to explore it for the first time with you, during the show, and I'm really happy that I did because
yeah.
uh, that was transformative, even for myself. Like I feel like after this, I can attack and tackle this task with a different view on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'll be honest that I think myself, especially, and probably most people look at this as like planning to die, and most of us want to plan to live. And so
Right,
everybody's focusing on their plan for life. What I want to do next, what I want to create, what I want to learn, what I want to do, how much I want to make, where I want to travel. You're thinking about planning to live. And
right.
when this conversation comes up, it's normally this transition of, oh, that's right. I'm not going to live forever. That's right. You're reminding me that I also need to plan to die. And that's usually what kind of makes people back away from it.
Oh,
But this,
mhm.
I do think, it elevated it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It,
it
it
feels
really
like you're
elevated
planning to live, not planning to die. You know what I mean?
it.
It feels like
Yeah,
this is very present in how do and I like, really going back to the CEO of my life. We actually did a podcast about 2-3 weeks ago with NAMIC of Southern California, which is
yeah.
National Association of Multi Ethnicities and Communications in Southern California. And so we did what is called be the CEO of your life. And so we kind of use that theme to kind of have people who are in corporate kind of look at life planning from a different perspective, and not just look at the C-suite and planning your career, but what about planning your life?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. Well, you've said it all. So now, what is next for my cap plan? Where is it going next? I know it's
Sure.
evolved. I know it's
Yes.
transformed. What's
Yeah.
next for it?
So what I'm finding is that there are people who actually need support, and what I mean by that is not just okay, I downloaded, I got it. They need, I would say, it's more like a touch base. So one of the things I'm going to do is start making that available for people, where there are texts that go out to say, hey, which section are you on? Where are you on day 12 on getting your cap plan done? Because it's very easy to not do it because it's not urgent,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So it really is about showing them more support. The second thing is to actually have I would call it a USB. That's the dual USB where you can actually plug it into any Windows or even a Mac computer, and the cat plan will live on there. And so you're able to upload all of your other information there too, like your living trust, your power of attorneys, everything would be all in one place. And it's going to be on a card that you can easily, that would say, this is emergency. These are all the things that are on it. Plug in case anything happens, period. So
got
it'd be because a lot of people, they may have it on their computers. Not everyone have access to their computers, but have it actually on a USB, maybe something that's a lot more comfortable, more accessible to people. So that's the direction that we're actually going. And so that, and plus, with Cap Plan, the interesting thing in doing Cap Plan, it kind of allowed me the time, because I've really gotten a lot of things done for my mom already, to really start focusing in on her legacy, because she's a painter, right? So I start working on her website, which is called
yeah.
ilovecolor.com, and a color with a K. So I'll show you that real quick, because I know you
Hold on.
talked about
Why why
earlier.
why would a K? Why would a K?
Because it's
Okay, I
different.
thought,
It's
you were
different.
gonna say her
It's
name was
different.
Kimberly or something. I
All
thought
right,
it
no, no,
was
no, 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 no. Why with a K? Because love was gone, man. It was gone.
I love it.
That's
I love
why.
it. I love it. That's awesome.
So I share that real quick, and so
I
you can
think
just
that's beautiful that you're bringing her paintings to life, man. That's
yeah,
oh yeah, look at that.
yeah.
Look
This
at that.
this is all her. This is all Judy Simmons. This is her
Wow.
gallery. She's amazing artist, man. I was just like blown away by her art, and it really is about reflecting who she is. And one of the things I wanted to make sure I do, because knowing my mom has only a couple months left, I want to make sure that her art is out there, and then that her success is celebrated. So my goal is to get people to not just purchase her art and in celebration of her life, but also to bring to show us the pictures of that art in their home, so that I can show her, like, look, mom, this is what your art is doing. Is transforming the world. Is bringing life into people's lives,
That's
and
right.
so which is why I'm doing it. And this is my mom right here on the far right.
Oh, look at that. Hey, Mama
So,
Simmons. Hey.
yeah, 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 boy. She'll cut you with your eyes, though. She look at those eyes. She's like, hey, I'll cut
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh yeah. She'll make you put it down.
She'll make you put it down,
Whatever
right?
you, whatever you were trying to sneak, she'll make you put it down.
See that little girl running. Just kidding. But no, man. She does. What's great about my mom is that she's very expressive, and
Wow, man, that's
and
great.
and I thank God that she's able to express who she is through what through her face,
Yeah.
because unfortunately she's unable to speak, and so what I get to see when the way things are communicated is how she looks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
She smizes.
yeah,
As
she does, man, she
Tyra,
does.
Tyra
So
said it. She smizes.
she smizes. So yeah, so the website is gonna be definitely live really next week. I'm still working on some things for it,
Okay.
but my goal is to celebrate her life in these last couple of months or that we have,
Yeah.
and take every single piece of these moments not for granted, but really just to love her in every single way, and to be patient, and to help her with her transition. Yeah.
With that being said, man, we appreciate you taking your time because I know, every moment is valuable. Like you said, you're taking time away from being with her to share this with us. And when what we need to do with our loved ones and with ourselves, it is greatly appreciated, man. I think this is mind blowing information, bro. It's like it's stuff that we all know, but I think being able to put any amount of vast information into a digestible serving size, that's a pun to the
Yeah.
men can burn, um, to a digestible serving size is always beneficial
Yeah.
for the person receiving it. So yeah, so we're gonna look for uh, the men can burn, right? I said it right.
Yeah. Man can burn. It's called Man Can
We're
Burn.
gonna look for men can burn. We're gonna go ahead and buy our cap plans. How much is a cap plan? Matter of fact.
It's interesting. I mean, so right now is at a discounted rate.
Okay.
So it's very affordable for anyone to be able to purchase.
Okay.
I recommend getting the premium value plan, because it gives you everything. You have the cap plan, the life plan, you get my life journal, and you also get the endless comfort cards. And these are cards that you can leave your loved ones, dealing with that first year of not being with you. And it's a very moving way to help get them through that rough year. So
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
I need a pot is good discount code for all of our viewers that also gets them some artwork. I want a package that gets them a little bit of everything. It costs a little more for it because you get art, but all together it's a beautiful piece. That's what I want. That's what I
All
want.
right, man. I figure it out. I figure it out.
All right, man. So the way we sign off, I will say pod is good. You say all the time. I'll say all the time. You say pod is good. You got me?
So pot is good, right?
Right, you got it. So I say, so pot is good,
All the time,
and all the time.
pot is good.
My man David, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. Blessings to your mom,
Thanks,
everything
brother.
that she's done, everything that she will do. I know she's continuing to spread love through looks, to spread energy through her presence, and to continue to spread joy and happiness through you, her son, who is carrying on her legacy. Greatly appreciated, my guy. You
Absolutely.
salute to you, young
All
man.
right. Yeah, keep it going, brother.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, now.
All right.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, episode 45 of the Pod is Good podcast. I hope you were edified today. I know I was. I don't gas nobody. I literally felt moved by looking at the cap plan. I had already viewed it, but hearing about it, looking at it in detail, understanding that I am the CEO of my life. That is not a plan for death. This is a plan for life. I'm planning it while I'm living, and I'm planning it for the people that will still be alive even when I'm gone. And viewing at it from that scope, I think will transform the way that we view it, approach it, and hopefully take care of it. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to the channel, follow, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do to say, I was digging that. But most of all, make sure that you come back next time. I was going to say next week, but we'll probably be back tomorrow because you know how I get down. So, episode 46 will be coming soon. So that time, I am Cashmere, California. This is the Pod is Good podcast. I will catch y'all later on. Peace out.